Hello and welcome to this video. This is sort of an offshoot video that's going to fall in line with the previous one, which I did titled An Attempt to Define Infinity. So if you've missed that video and that definition and explanation is something you are interested in, then I will link the video below so that you can check that one out, which I put out, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, I forget. But in this video here, as titled, I am going to attempt to define, through my own perspective and my own wording, of course, intention and what intention is. To me, and as far as my guidance and understanding goes at this point, present moment, 2023, intention appears to be the language of the ether, of the universe, the most common spoken, I would say, I guess, the intermediate sort of median language that every layer can speak naturally, and yes, it has become a very intriguing, curious exploration for me to really think about, assess, define, watch, observe, feel, sense, and see my own intentions as I flow through every present moment, as I flow through my days, and those days stretch into weeks, and that turns into months, and those months are seasons all of a sudden, right? And I can really see the work I have done paving the way to more positive futures that align more fluidly, more gracefully with my highest path. And also, I see this very gentle guidance through the present moment that happens only when I'm conscious, and I intend to be aware in the present moment, conscious in my every present moment. I am finding guidance points that little flags, little nudges, little bits of confirmation or help in little tiny ways that perhaps I would miss or look over if I wasn't as aware, if I wasn't intending to be conscious in my present moments, stepping into each one like that. And finally, I have also seen a beautiful retrospective working that with intention that has helped me to really paint the pictures of my past in a sort of memory photo album for myself in a way that I have become very proud of and comfortable with, and that I intend to carry with me, things that have made me stronger, things I have learned lessons from, things that I'm grateful for. And it has helped me in my intentions even more to let go of things that don't serve me, to smooth over those rough spots, mistakes, those obstacles or places and pieces that maybe felt shameful or guilty about, or I felt misrepresented or misunderstood in some kind of way. Doing this sort of recognition and intentions has helped me greatly heal the past. And yes, a work in progress, and I'm not saying that I'm like miraculously like healed of all things and stuff like that, but I'm saying that the healing's happening and that the repercussions are really spreading out into my life now. And so I speak from experience when I'm talking here about intentions and how impactful they, our energy is, our feelings really are. So that's my little preamble here at the beginning of this video about why I'm talking about trying to define intention. And I do want to just stay on topic and keep this video short. So I'm going to jump right into it without too much other sort of channel information and stuff about me. If you are new here, links below, find me on Telegram. um, so, the language of the ether. Let's just think about that for one moment. And if you aren't new here and you've been following along with my energetic system series, then you can start to really get a tangible understanding about the energetics of intention and how it really does fuel all of our inner systems, all of the working that is taking place to keep you going, to keep your body going on all these different layers, right? Mind, body, and spirit. These three beautiful layers that work within a scope of duality all of their own. Each one separately has a shadow and a light, has this external and these internal processes happening within their own world. And then they have the conversation and the flow and the charge, the momentum collected between those two conversations, between those two workings. Each layer has their own, right? And beautifully, harmonically, they make a melody when they come together. They vibrate as three together with those worlds, those flows, all having their own beautiful conversations, and they make up you. And how you do that, and how each one of those layers is having these energy transactions, their intentions that they go into each one of these tiny little pass-offs, all of the systems doing all of their work, right? Each one goes into it with intention and has available to it its own different layer of intention, its own flavor. Just like it has its own layer and flavor, sort of conscious awareness available. As we dive into different layers and we look at beings and dissect them into smaller parts, and even in concepts, we dissect into smaller parts, like humanity as a whole being. We dissect it into individuals, groups, cultures, traditions, all of these ways that we can dissect that whole of humanity into many different ways, all the way down into the individual person, all the way from 8 billion or whatever they say into one person. And then our one is actually a reflection of so many manys, because think of the trillions, quadrillions of cells that you are, right? All of those are systems in their own speaking, and they are all doing their own speaking, their own transactions, and they all have available to them these different ideas, different worlds, basically. And those worlds have within them a grasp, right? They have a border that contains them, and each one has a different level of consciousness and a purpose for that level of consciousness to do work. Your cell's level of consciousness, its purpose in working, its intention, and the intentions available to it, both negative and positive, because they do have both available to them in a different variety than we can understand as human beings, but the cell does have its own polarity available to its quest of intentions and its service availabilities. And so we look at it from that layer, but we can also look at it from a higher layer, right? And you can look at it from your whole self. You can look at it from each of your boss's layers, like I just talked about, having mind, body, and spirit being their own sort of worlds of you that come together as layers, right? Each one of those is their own and has their own available spectrum of conscious awareness, of purpose, of reality, and of what kind of intentions are available to it. And but the thing is, here with intentions, like I said, is intention is sort of the universal language, right? That's why I like to call it the language of the universe, the language of the ether, because every frequency, every being has a frequency, and what is intention but feeling that initial feeling, right? It is that unspeakable transmission of the spirit wave. I don't want to call it audio or sound. It's a form of light, but in a different way than we have a verbiage for it, really. And I don't want to give it a misnomer or create something that isn't there, visual. But understand that there is this cymatic resonance. It is a visual happenings of transactions in this spirit layer that is the intention that happens first. And it happens first because intention, it comes from the inner realm. It comes from the higher realms as well. It comes from higher densities, imagination space, and eventually right out to initial infinite creator, to the intelligent infinite source, whatever that is. Um, that that feeling is what intention is, and that flows first, and it flows through all. And so think for a quick example here. um, you know you can intend, you can have a scratch on your face, right? You can have a tickle or whatever, like I just did with my hair. And if I am in a positive charge and polarity and feeling my unconditional love for myself, and my whole torrido of myself, right, has a beautiful external flow, free flowing up and out and around, right? I don't have a call or yearning for more. I don't feel limited, or that I have some kind of cistern in here that I have to store and hold energy for in order to survive later. I know I have this eternal piece of source here to keep me going infinitely. And because of those underlying truths I hear and recognize and I live in, when I go to scratch my face or move my hair or something, the intention that's spoken at first, I'm not really annoyed with myself or with my exterior. Annoyance really drops away when we work on intention and we work on self-love. And instead of allowing it to be annoying or aggravating, right, it's just there, it just happens. And the input, the transaction from the systems, it just sends me informational input from my physical body, right, that says, hey, this is annoying me right now. This is tickling, or whatever. And nicely and gracefully, I kind of do this, really conscious of the way that my fingertip moves across my face. It allows me to be present in the moment. I feel, the contact and the hairs, and take my time with it. And I intend to do that because I love myself, and I intend to treat myself with care and love. And I have done that practice mindfully, consciously for, starting probably 8 or 9 years ago. I started doing simple things like that. And it's blended in so much that it's become a subconscious habit now, right? But it's not it's just the underlying truth that I recognize. I live in my truth. I love myself, and I'm not going to jerk my body around and accidentally go, to compare it to somebody who doesn't live in this kind of condition, right? They have more negatively aspected orientation or polarity, and perhaps they have some self-hate or anger or angst or uncomfortabilities, or they don't like themselves, or whatever the case might be. They have an overall negative charge happening, and they're disgruntled and aggravated. And when things happen like an itch or an annoyance like that, it triggers in a negative way, and they take the anger out. Even this is a subconscious habit kind of thing. You will go and jerk your hand, and maybe you even scratch yourself on accident. Or maybe on purpose, because you're kind of looking to hurt yourself. You're very angry at yourself, or you're angry at the hair, or whatever the case might be. We make up all these internal excuses why we're doing these things to ourselves. But if we just cut the excuses and the BS, and we look at cut and dry, black and white of what it is, it's you're not honoring your truth. You're not honoring your unconditional love for yourself, your sovereign right to be. You're not moving with intention in your life that is positive for yourself. Your intentions are malaligned, right? They're negative intentions. And when we have this malalignment and our intentions are negatively fueled, and they're sort of moved into this more negative ground setting, we don't really notice it because it's kind of homeostasis, feels like it's over there. We get into these modes and we don't even notice, and we do. We hurt ourselves on accident. We can be clumsy. We can be downright mean to ourselves, right? We can be have the intentions to make ourselves the brunt of jokes for people and stuff. And that feeling that we create, that intention of self-harm, whatever flavor that you're embodying, whether it's the kind that's angry, or the kind that's a victim, or the kind that's anxious and nervous, jealous or passive aggressive. There's all these different flavors that it happens in. But the fact in the cut and the dry of it is that your intention is negative towards yourself, right? It's a self-harming intention. Who cares what the justifications and excuses are? It doesn't matter. Don't put those out for yourself. Don't allow those belittling excuses, because you're stronger than that. If you intend to be, you can be, just as soon as you switch your mind setting. But the important thing is to feel it, because those feelings, just like I said, any flavor, they all have their own flavor and they all have their own cymatic resonance, this vibe, this wave they send out around you. We are sort of antennas, receptors, and, not just receiving things, but also sending out, And the intentions, those cast out first, and everything hears it on that level. Whether we choose to align it or lie to ourselves about that first initial send out message, that's free to each creator out there. That is free will. That's what the law of chaos is all about. Interpretations, personalized input coming in, and then you get to choose what to hear it or not, to distort it or not, right? But that's up to each creator, and that has nothing to do with you. You should not be intending to be observing what they're doing with that information. That's infringing. But the lesson here is to understand that it does happen and that it gets free sent out there. So be mindful as much as you can about what you're sending out, and if you're aligning with that initial intention or not. Because if you're causing disharmonious ripples between your initial feelings and intentions versus how your mind thinks about it versus how your body actually acts about it, you're creating multi-lies, multi-distortions within your reflections of the light you cast out here in your reality to make your world and be in. So you can't be blaming others or even really blaming yourself so much, victimizing yourself in a negative way about that. Saying, oh, woe is me, and all these bad things happen to me and my life sucks because of this and this and that. You're casting out a light that is crappy. So don't be surprised when it's full of shadows and everything worries you or angers you, frustrates you or scares you. You're going into it with the intention of finding that kind of thing. And the universe is a reflection. All it is a playscape, a stage for you to perform on, right? Scenery and actors to be with you and enjoy co-creating with you. When you're going into every moment with intention that is a scary place or a bad place or unhappy or a present or whatever, don't be surprised when the universe gives you your initial intentions back. Because again, this is why mindfulness, meditation, and these kind of inner seekings, why I start with the inner systems, is so important. Because we have to know what we're actually honestly intending to build, what we're actually honestly seeking, what we're intending to find within ourselves, and what we want to do about it when we find it. Because when you don't have those inner conversations with you, and you can't stand your sovereignty about what you do with your power like that, with your intentions, it's so easy to be victimized, skirt around things, put blinders on, ignore things, let trash pile up, say do it tomorrow, or blame another person and say they should be picking up after this and doing that, and that's why you won't because they aren't. And it's like, well, if you just focus on your own intentions and what you truly want, you'll see your life, doors and doors and doors lining up, your beautiful highest path, just like stones popping out of the river in front of you, becoming available to you in ways that you didn't really even think of before, because it's a co-creation with the universe here. And when you really listen and your intentions are to actually follow your highest path, the universe hears that and it brings forth what you need. But when your intentions are nervous or you don't trust yourself or you're worried about it, well, you're going to get kind of sketchy things because you're intending to be, intending to find that. It's pretty much that simple. This is where kind of law of attraction, manifestation, all these kind of things, all these bounce back things come from. And of course, there's beautiful hermetic laws and lots of detailed explanations about all these things, and there's many different workings in there. But again, just to keep it cut and dry and just to bring it back to basics here, and look at the black and white of it, it really is all about how you think first. Well, feel. It's a blending, of course, but it's this inner resonance. It's deeper than thinking. It's feeling and thinking, it's knowing. And if this is wonky ground, slippery slopes for you right now, which it was for me for a long time, we have to spend time in meditation and explore that for ourselves, because there is great differences there. Even though it kind of seems like gray, it slides all into one, it's kind of wishy-washy. When you spend time with yourself to really clear the ground there, you will see and you will find a lot of definition, a lot of pictures in the chaos that you can focus on and really find good lessons in. But you have to have the initial intention to do that. And that's all you need. At the same point, it's that simple. That's all you need. And if you have that, if you seek it, you will find. Now, I'm pretty much at where I want to get for my minutes for this video. But the last thing I really want to speak about and just underline here is for those of us who hear the words and have ears to hear, right? Who've spent some time with their own selves, with their higher selves or God, in prayer, meditation. Anyone who has a deep resonance of truth and an anchor and a tie, knowing that there is a bigger picture here, right? The language in the word of intention is so fundamental. It kind of just gets lost in all of the wonderful metaphysical things we learn about, all the deepness, all of these different flavors, like I said, of things. And intention, of course, because it's a huge umbrella of everything. But now that we have taken time to sort of explore it for ourselves and we understand the values there, the thing is, we could pull it back and look at the whole spectrum for just a moment and look at the truth of what having intention tells us. And it reminds us of this sovereign responsibility, this great power that we have of choice. And free will. The free thinking, free thought. This container that is you, that is me, that is Allie, that is you as whoever you are out there in beautiful internet land and in your world, in your direct life. Each one of us is given a private space. A little infinite dry erase board, blackboard, excuse me, of imagination space that we are only allowed into. Now, yes, there is a reflection that we can step into when we have a higher sight or deep connections, where we can get into remote viewing together, when we can step into collective consciousness together, where we can transfer our consciousness or even our physicality over into another space and have a conversation and share their reality with them. These are all great, wonderful concepts and workings and practices that we can get into when you take time and you dedicate your intention into these ways. We are unlimited energetic beings. And we're on an evolutionary process as well. We are moving from this carbon base into more crystalline bodies, into more light. We are becoming more enlightened beings. It's a beautiful, wonderful quest and journey. And there's just unlimited variety to explore as we move through this playscape, this beautiful dry erase board, chalkboard of infinite creation, imagination space. And as we learn to create on it and use our own, and also understand and realize that there is a difference between being with others and being in our own space, and being able to feel that beautiful sacred space that is your own, and get in there. That place and that space of knowing is the language of intention. This is the space in the layer where intention lives, where we first hear our song, where we first design something, where we first initiate a movement, where we first have the pass-through of whatever energetics transaction that's happening. This happens here first. And this first place is tied to all of every other place, just like spooky action at a distance, just like how we have this quantum entanglement that they call it, right? One thing happens and the other knows it, no matter how far away they are, because they are the same, right? That initial intention, when we can learn from that, when we can get into that and listen as unbiasedly, as a creator mindset, as the observer of that, and hear the flavor that is, or the tune that's being played from the instrument that is Allie. I can listen to that specific melody and tune and hear how it wants to be played and listen to it. And when it comes through with notes or a song or an idea, that I allow my mind and my spirit to work together to tell my body and allow my body to hear it as well, right? And to pass it all through the layers out through the densities as well, as clear and as respecting that sound and reverberating it out without creating distortions and lies about it. Then you're really speaking with intention. Then you're really exploring that language and you're speaking more fluently, more gracefully, and you will hear the second part of the conversation. You learn to listen more gracefully. You learn to be in a conversation with that whole layer of intention. And you'll see your life just miraculously flow and change. I just know from practice in my own world how powerful it is. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I've changed of seasons here. And I have a tickly throat. But yes, I just really am going to close the video out at a half an hour here. I have talked long enough, but thank you so much for listening to me. I hope I have given sort of an explanation to how deep and how natural and organic and like the bare bones really is what intention is. And that's really what I want to get through in this video for us to understand. You don't have to do anything to learn to speak that language. You do it naturally, initially. That is it. What you need to learn is to listen. What you need to learn is to observe it, to hear it, and to and then you'll learn to speak more fluently. So yes, I'm going to close it there, and know that in my energetic system series in level 3, where I'm currently at, the systems within are all about how clearly we speak this language of intention. And I'm going to dive more into it with the systems within in level 3. I've gone a bit through each boss, so if you missed those, you could check those out. But I will kind of wrap it up and go around and just underline how the energy processes that the torus and the inner core are doing, and the Mobius flow itself is really all about intention. And that the flow is created by intention. So when you start to notice that, you can really create more fluid flow, and you can really create better communication between the external torridal and the internal core on all your layers in all of your systems, and like clean them up. It's kind of like getting in and cleaning the clock out, and so all the gears move smoothly, right? So if that interests you and you haven't seen my energetic system series, definitely check it out. But know that I will be talking a little bit more in-depthly about how intention runs our systems in the level 3 wrap-up video that's going to be coming out next. So thank you so much for giving me your time today. I really appreciate your audience so much. Thank you for your beautiful contribution to our collective. Thank you for witnessing mine. As always, you can find me directly on my website at amariespeaks.com, or amariespeaks, Telegram, Spotify, YouTube, BitChute, wherever. So yeah, I guess I will catch you next time.